Josh here with the CSN Centers for Academic Success. This is part 6 of an 8-part series on essential skills to master for your English course. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Visit the centers at any of the main campuses to clear up anything we talk about today. This time we're discussing how to manage your research and how to properly attribute your sources. That's summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting in your essay. So, let's jump into it. When you begin your research for your paper, you want to know what kind of sources you'll need. This will be dependent on the topic you've chosen, so you'll want to ask yourself a few productive questions, such as, what kind of information are you looking for? Depending on your topic, you may need anything ranging from news articles to research studies to archival data. Try to expose yourself to the most relevant research material. This should hopefully make the effort less daunting. Where do you need to look for your research? If you're looking for information on a current event, find a reputable news outlet like the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, both of which can be accessed using the CSN Library's databases. For something more objective, like statistics on the US population, consider government documents, like a census report. And for local information, you can use a library database called Las Vegas, Nevada News Bank. And then, of course, peer-reviewed articles found within academic journals are bountiful sources of information on currently existing literature. How much information do you need? Your number of sources will vary based on the parameters of the assignment, but also based on the scope of your topic. A controversial topic may require more sources over a topic that is objective and non-controversial. There are also some research tips you can reference on the CSN Library's website. When you're on the home page, go to Research Help. From there, select Research 101. There is a great list of resources for you to use when starting and maintaining the research process. Now you've gathered all the research you need and you're ready to start writing. It can be incredibly tempting to copy and paste your way through your paper, but I guarantee you that that's the quickest way to get your paper flagged for plagiarism. We avoid plagiarism by properly citing the sources that we've researched. It's important to show intent that you are not passing others' ideas off as your own because, after all, this is a paper you are writing with your own ideas. It's just supplemented by others' research. Some information on a certain matter might be common knowledge, but very specific, technical perspectives need to be correctly attributed to the author. So now let's talk about direct quotes, paraphrases, and summaries. As we go along, I'll also point out how to properly cite your sources in each type of attribution. A quote is taking someone else's exact words and putting them in your essay. Basically, to quote means you transplanted a few words, a sentence, or a paragraph from a source and put it in your paper. In this example, you see that the direct quote immediately finishes the thought from the beginning of the sentence. It's generally inadvisable to leave quotes sitting isolated on their own, so be sure to lead into it with your own voice. See here where we have Harris 23 in parentheses. Harris denotes the author being cited with this information and will directly connect with your works cited page if you're using MLA's citation format. The 23 indicates the page number of the source that is being referenced. To paraphrase means to use someone else's idea, change the words, and put those new words in your essay. This is not the same as a quote because what you put in your essay is not exactly the same as how it was in the source. However, because the original idea did not come from you, you still need to cite it correctly. In this sentence, the author, Stephen Sutton, is referenced at the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes you won't have a specific page number to insert as a parenthetical because the information you're referencing may involve a broader range of the source than just one page. Summarizing means that you read a few paragraphs or more from a source and then put the idea that you learned into your essay, but you summarize it. For example, instead of quoting all 3 whole paragraphs from the source, you just write the overall idea into a few sentences of your own. In this example, the parenthetical refers to the title of the article. In some cases, articles may be crowdsourced and won't have a clearly defined author. When that happens, referring to the title of the work is often acceptable. As always, we're going to cap this off with some top tips from someone with a well-rounded background on the matter. Here's Gracie McDonough with some ideas to remember.
Hi everyone, my name is Gracie McDonough and I'm an instruction and reference librarian at the Henderson campus. And these are my top 3 tips for you for doing research using the CSN libraries. Our library website is library.csn.edu. My first tip for you is to use keywords or key phrases when you're searching. So this is in Google. and you don't want to put an entire question into the search bar. You want to use specific keywords and key phrases. So, for example, if I'm writing a paper about shark finning, and I want to write about, shark finning in the Pacific Ocean and what is that doing to some of the populations of other creatures that typically sharks hunt. So that's a lot of information that I'm looking for. I'm going to take that and develop that into a couple keywords and key phrases that I can put into the search bar. The first thing I want to do is do shark finning. But because that's more than one word, I want to put it in quotation marks. So I don't get, shark in one part of the article and finning in another part of the article when it's not really about shark finning. I want to put that in quotes. And then I want to use a capital and so I can add on another keyword or key phrase. So my next key phrase might be apex predator, also in quotations. Then I can hit search and it'll pull up all of my search results. And maybe I'll find what I'm looking for, but maybe I need to refine that a little bit. Don't be afraid to change some of your keywords or your key phrases if you're not finding exactly what you're looking for. Synonyms are great for this. Try other keywords and key phrases. My next tip is about your specific types of sources that you're going to use for a particular assignment. You'll find this information in the assignment information or the rubric for that particular assignment. It'll be either you're doing something about, local information and you need to use newspaper articles, or you need peer-reviewed or scholarly sources. Do you need a couple of books for this, and then a couple newspapers, and then a couple of peer-reviewed articles? You'll find all of that information in that assignment description. So know what you're looking for. Then, after you've put in your search terms into your search bar, on the left-hand side of the page are limiters. You can go through and you can check mark a lot of these things. So if you're just looking for newspaper articles, you can check mark the newspaper box. If you're just looking for peer-reviewed articles, same thing, check mark that box. So it's more specific to the types of sources that you need for this particular assignment. My third tip is interlibrary loan. Interlibrary loan is an amazing free service that the library has. So if you're using Google Scholar for your assignment, Google Scholar is absolutely fantastic. There's so much information there. But typically, Google Scholar will want you to pay like $39.99 to access an article. Never, ever, ever pay that, because we have interlibrary loan and you can get these articles for free. Even if we don't have access to them through our library, we can get them for you. So on the main library website, there is a drop down that says library services. The second one down is interlibrary loan. It'll ask you a couple of questions about the article that you're trying to access. You'll fill that out, and then Jessica, who runs our interlibrary loan department, can typically get you that article within a day or two. So interlibrary loan is fantastic. Take advantage of it. And then if you need help with anything at all, either come into the library, you can give us a call. Our phone numbers are on the library website. And also we have a chat feature. It's a little orange box at the top of the screen that says questions, ask us. You can click that and you can type your question into that area. And then it will go to the librarian who happens to be on at that time. If you're doing your research at 3 a.m., there probably won't be somebody there to answer it right away, but the first person on in the morning will answer it for you. So if you have questions, if you forgot something, you can't remember, please ask. We're always here and we're happy to help. Thanks.
Remember, visit the CSN Centers for Academic Success on any campus, and also check out that libraries page. There are quite a few useful little nuggets in there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.